Hey everybody, this is Shirley with Pink Warrior Sisters. I had that eye doctor appointment yesterday, and as I said last week when I did the first video about this, um, what I said is that you should get an ophthalmologist. And yes, they are better because they can do surgery, they can do anything you need. This way, I'd have to get another it's a group, so they do have ophthalmologists, but I think they're in Myrtle Beach, and I wanted to go a little closer to where I live. But that's a whole nother story. Anyway, I just wanted to let you know that I went for the follow-up tests of for the diagnosis for glaucoma. I had done the visual fields test and I passed. But the next test, I thought there were more. There was another one. They wanted, besides measuring the pressure, which they did a couple of times yesterday. They do one with the machine that's kind of like the air puff, but it's not. I don't know. But then there's another one where they, with the blue light, goes and touches your eye. And it's supposed to tell them, the measurements. Well, when I went in August, it was the right eye was 26, and it was really high. So this time it was 20. And the other machine that was broken before, that they wanted to get, they take a picture of your nerves, the optic nerves. And anyway, he said it looks the same as it did on my last scan. Yay! No changes, which means it's good, even though they thought it was weird looking before. But the doctor I had before, the ophthalmologist, said, oh, you just have weird nerves. And I was fine with that. And then he comes and retires, and then this guy comes along and says, oh, well, we really should check this. So, okay, we'll check it. Okay. It's more money for them too, So I always think that's part of why they're concerned. And maybe he was worried that it was really something. Anyway, so he said it was 20 this time in the right eye. Oh, he also did something, which I don't know. He did this test in there where he also sort of, the machine sort of, anyhow, it measured my cornea, and he said that I had thick cornea. So I'm like, duh, I probably could have told him that, right? At least I was hoping that was the answer. We had talked about it, my husband and me, my husband and I talked about it. But anyway, that was the answer. So I get credit for the thick cornea, which makes the number, if it was 20, lower. And he said, then that's in the normal range, which is still high normal, but I'm not going to split hairs. I'm happy with the results. But I still have to go back in 6 months for another eye pressure measurement. Jeez, it never ends. And I will tell you this, don't ever tell any doctors that you think whatever happens to you may be because I had chemo and there are side effects. Oh, no, couldn't be that. Couldn't be. So, you know how that is, right? Don't question. He's questioning another doctor, I guess. I said, it's been 18 years. Shouldn't my pressure have gone down? But he's like, well, how do you know it was from the steroids in your chemo? And the point is that I will try to make when I go back is it's not the first eye doctor appointment I've ever had, right? I've had eye doctor appointments before I moved here and found a lump on my breast, and it turned out to be breast cancer. And none of those doctors in the past, before I moved here, ever said, oh my God, you have high eye pressure. None of them. He said, well, how do you know? Wouldn't they have said something? If they're a good doctor, they would have said, yeah, by the way, you have high eye pressure. So, just so you know, it's another thing where you got to keep advocating for yourself. And at this point, I hate to say it, you got to pick your fights. So I just said, okay, you don't think that's why, but I do. So we'll just leave it at that, right? So, anyway, that's the end of this chapter or semi chapter because it's going to continue. It never ends, right? I've got a couple of other things that I wanted to talk about. Um, as far as I've been doing, and a lot of other people who've been through cancer may feel the same way. I didn't at first because it's been 18 years, but after the debacle with the pandemic uh, in 2020, and I couldn't find any hand sanitizer, I started making my own. So that's another thing that I do. I started making cleaners. I make my own laundry detergent, dishwasher detergent pods, um, toilet pods. We have hard water here near the beach, so citric acid is my friend. I don't really care for vinegar. I don't think it works as well, but citric acid helps to dissolve all the minerals and stuff in our water. So I may do more videos about things like that. If you're interested, go ahead, like, share, and smash the subscribe button. I did have someone who asked me for a recipe, and I want her to know that I'm going to go ahead and do it. I got it off of YouTube, so I will credit the person who shared it, and I will share it and forward it on, uh, pay it forward, because it is another recipe that does have citric acid in it, and that's why it reminded me. It's my dishwasher pod recipe. I got it from her. I think her name was Erin. I'll double check that. But anyway, it's only got 3 ingredients, and it's like, you know, the smaller the list of ingredients, the better it goes. It's just great. I love it. Anyway, I'm sorry to keep jabbering, but I just want to share this with people if it may help them. This is an ongoing situation, and I do hope it helps somebody. And I wish somebody would comment if they do have a comment about it, if they had a situation similar, because as I said, the doctors, they won't admit that it just might be from the chemo, but whatever. I can keep talking about it, and I do to friends because I have a group of friends who sort of went through the same, not the same chemo. They also had treatment for breast cancer around the same time I did, and I met them on breastcancer.org. So I haven't actually met them. Some of them I have in person, but most of them I haven't. So we chat on Facebook and whatever. So these are things. It helps. You need to have support, and you need to be your own advocate because I gotta tell you, there's nobody does it for you, and you are the best advocate because you're the one going through it, and you know what you do. You know what's happening. That's, I guess, all I can say. And you know how you feel. I know I was an advocate for my mother-in-law when she got sick and had some issues, but she couldn't tell them because she was just in so much pain. She had this terrible headache and other things, but it was mostly related to high blood pressure, which she already had been diagnosed. But it was just something that came up uh, as things do. So I would tell them this happened, that happened, then that happened, and it was. I felt like I felt like the gingerbread man. Hey, guess what? This happened, that happened, that happened. Anyway, I will follow up on my dishwasher pod recipe that I got from Erin. And another thing that I found, because my eyelashes they used to always be so long, and they got to where I think it was my thyroid. I have an autoimmune thyroid thing. So before even chemo and breast cancer, I had, I lost, I'm not putting on mascara for that reason, but I also use, and I didn't bring it with me to show you, I will in the next video. Um, Two things. Well, one thing, but yesterday after my appointment, I was so excited to go to the drugstore and buy some more supplements. And while I was doing that, I had to go down the aisle with, makeup and stuff. Why not? I don't wear a lot of makeup, but there was a tube of, guess what? Um, an eyelash and eyebrow serum. It had castor oil in it, which I've been using it on my eyes. Not that much. I haven't started because I had another eye issue that got me started with this eye doctor. And that's how all this got started. This was one thing after another, right? But anyway, this is, I'm going to use it and see how it works because it not only has castor oil in it, and I know it has probably some bad chemicals, toxic stuff, but it also has, if you're still watching to the end, it has castor oil and what's it called? Niacinamide? Yes, it's niacin. And I'm like, that's really cool because that's also something that I read may lower your eye pressure. All these things were connected. So I'm not just rambling, really, seriously. But anyway, I'm going to start using that also. It's kind of hard to get it out of the tube. And there's a little, I don't know what they're called, ridges on the mascara wand part at the bottom that I didn't think there was anything on it, but it did feel, I think it helps to scrape off all the excess because when I do it with just a little spoolie and a bottle of castor oil, it gets a lot on it and I have to scrape it off of the top of the neck of the bottle, to try to get not as, but I leave it on thick anyway because I think, well, maybe it'll make them thicker. I know there are rumors that it doesn't really help grow hair or eyelashes. It just makes them thicker. But even if it does, it'll make them look darker. Maybe. I'll try it and see. And I'll let you know. I'll report back. So, thanks if you've been watching. Thanks for watching. And I'll talk to you later.